Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's Lunch and Learn, How to Order Supplies, presented by OfficerReports.com. My name is John Greer, and I'm one of the Customer Experience Managers here at Officer Reports. And we'll try to keep, as we normally do, these Lunch and Learn sessions short, but we do have a lot of ground to cover today. So why exactly is learning how to order supplies important? Well, it'll allow you the opportunity to start using the tour tracker and tour stop system functionality in Officer Reports. You'll learn how to order the QR codes and NFC tags you'll need depending on your use case and what you need to order. And we'll also show you how to print out the QR codes on the labels you order and a quick overview on how to program the NFC tags. If you have any questions during this Lunch and Learn, please feel free to click on the second green icon at the center of your screen. This will open a chat window, which if you click on my name and type a message directly to me, we can get to those questions after we're done with the live presentation. So quick introduction, and now we'll go ahead and go on to the live demonstration portion of this month's Lunch and Learn. Okay, and right now I'm logged into where, of course, you start on the main side as administrator, the site activity summary page. One of the things that you'll want to check before you order any supplies, and this is what I generally recommend our customers do, is set up your tour stops. So you'll know how many QR codes you'll need, and you also want to talk with, or QR codes or NFC tags you need, and you also want to talk with your client to see kind of what visibility they want these QR codes and NFC tags to have at their location. Some clients, may want a smaller QR code to be used or the NFC tags to kind of help hide the tour tracking and tour stops. But you'll go to Setup and Sites, and then Options and Tour Stops. And as you see here, I've already added some QR codes. I added one NFC tag here. And you want to get a count. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 QR codes and just like an example NFC tag. So again, before you order, just make sure that you kind of plan out where you want your tour stops to be and how many QR codes or NFC tags you may need at that location. And it's even good in a lot of cases to have extra NFC tags or QR code label sheets, if you plan on expanding rapidly or if you plan on adding more QR codes or having to possibly reprint QR codes that may have faded or otherwise something that may have happened to them. So the easiest way to order supplies from Officer Reports is to go to Setup, or that you'll need for Officer Reports is go to Setup and then click on Order Supplies. This will take you to our support center where we kind of laid out what is a QR code, what is an NFC tag. So QR code, of course, is a square kind of image that has different squares and essentially white space in that little square box. And essentially what that allows the phone to do is it reads data from the black and the white and translates it into something a device can read. And even you can go on to, when you click on Order Supplies, and depending on your device, iOS or Android, you can actually scan this QR code just to get an example of kind of the things that QR codes can do. But within the Officer Reports application, they only read tour stops created underneath the specific site for the site that you're located at. And in this here, we actually have an explainer on what these sheets look like with a video here that goes over the label sheets. And then quickly here, we're going to try not to bounce back and forth between QR codes and NFC tags, but in order to kind of save some time here, we'll go over what kind of is an NFC tag. So we went over what's a QR code, that a square block with white and black spaces in between that allows your phone to read data kind of hidden within that QR code. So an NFC tag, they only work on Android right now, with an officer report. They do not work on Apple or iOS devices, simply because Apple's not allowed or kind of opened up the NFC technology enough to what they call their Apple Pay system in order to utilize that within the Officer Reports application. As soon as that is an option available to us, then NFC tags will be available for both Android and iOS device use. So NFC tags come in a variety of different types and kind of styles. There's a lot of different NFC tags available to you. What we often see is kind of these, in this image, you'll kind of see the stickers similar to how the QR code labels work. And these stickers would be able to be placed on kind of porous surfaces like walls or desks, but not on metal. If you place them on metal, they won't work because the little electronics within the NFC tag is exposed, or not exposed, but it's kind of grounded when you put it on metal. And then you've got what's in the middle here is kind of an on-metal NFC tag. It's a little button, kind of that you could put on metal, and because the electronics for the tag are kind of enclosed in a little capsule type thing, you can put it on metal, so it isn't grounded. And essentially what happens with an NFC tag is that the phone is placed up to the NFC tag, and data is transferred from, or essentially power is given to the NFC tag from the phone real quick, and then the NFC tag sends back a signal to the phone and it powers it off. So it's low power consumption when it comes to NFC tags, but again, only on Android right now. And it does have to be a specific type of NFC tag that you order, but we'll go into that. And right now we'll go back to how to order QR codes. So you've got a couple links at the top here. If you just click on order QR code label sheets, it'll take you to this Order Now button, which will take you to another support page. So we're kind of making this as easy as possible in kind of a wizard type format that guides you through step by step on how to order the QR code labels or NFC tags, gives you information about the tags, which ones you want to order, and then directly links you to a third party, a partner that we're currently sending you to get these QR code labels. So if you want large 1.5-inch labels, because you've got two specific, with the QR code labels, you've got two specific sizes that you can print out. I'm going to go back to the tour stop screen here. As you see at the top, we've got small 1-inch labels or large 1.5-inch labels. Depending on your client's needs, and when you have a discussion with your client, you can choose which ones would be best for that location. And then, of course, download the QR codes for this location in either small or large 1-inch or 1.5-inch. Now, with the difference in sizes, we find that the large 1.5-inch labels, of course, are easier to read for older devices or devices that don't maybe have as good of cameras as kind of if you were to use the smaller 1-inch labels. So essentially, you'll find the large 1.5-inch labels links at the top of the Order QR Code Supplies support article. And whether you've got an inkjet printer or a laser printer, you'd click on either one of these. And when you go to the site, all you have to do is enter the quantity of sheets that you want. So for the large 1.5-inch sheets, you can print out 24 labels per sheet. And they are it automatically sets a matte, weatherproof finish for the labels. So these are kind of Avery printing labels that you are ordering for Officer Reports, and you do print them off yourself because you have the tour stops added, and you'll want to, of course, if you add any before you get the labels, they don't print them for you. You'll just receive these Avery type printing label sheets that you can put into the printer, which is why it's important to select whether or not you've got an inkjet printer or a laser printer. And then down here, just a little further down, you'll see the links for the small 1-inch labels. Now you can put 80 QR codes onto a single sheet, or print out 80 onto a single sheet. And again, this depends on what you talked about with your client. Do they want, does visibility not matter to them? And then you'll also take a look at maybe, well, my officers are using maybe older type phones with cameras, or maybe they're using newer type phones. Depends on if they're using company provided phones, of course, then you would know, exactly kind of what the camera would be on that device, or if they're using their own personal devices, in which you may have to ask them, your employees, what type of device are you using, or what kind of camera, as far as megapixels do you have on that, because it does make a difference. Again, large 1.5-inch labels are easier to read on lower end or lower megapixel type cameras, where the smaller ones are harder to read. But if you get a camera on their phone, then the client is wanting kind of a discrete setup with these QR codes, then you definitely use the smaller 1-inch labels. But again, it's the same as the above 1.5-inch large labels. Except, of course, the number of labels per sheet is different. So again, 24 for large and 80 labels on one sheet for the small. Now, even if you've only got one site and you've got maybe, say, 10 to 20 QR code labels that you kind of want to print at a specific location, and that's the only location you have, I do recommend ordering 3 to 5 sheets, just in case you need to reprint, or let's say you've got a contract that comes up and you need to add QR codes as tour stops, and you want to make sure you have those kind of on hand. And again, you'll just click on whether you get an inkjet or a laser printer for the 1-inch labels as well. And then in the support article, we also point towards what I showed you earlier, selecting small or large 1.5-inch when you go to download these QR codes. At the bottom of the page, you'll see a link on how to print out the QR codes. This also shows you how to create them. So I'll go ahead and click on that real quick. It'll take you to our Creating and Printing Officer Tour Tracking Location support article, which goes through what you'll need. So you'll need Adobe PDF Reader, the weatherproof QR code labels that you ordered, and of course a printer. And then I'll go through on how to create those, but generally, as I said, I recommend creating them beforehand so you know how many QR code labels you'll need for the tour stops you create. We also got a video in the support article that walks you through how to print them, but also show you kind of how that works today as well. And if you need to replace anything, so if you're printing a single tour tracking location, labels, this walks you through how to download a specific Microsoft Word template depending on the label size, and how to insert a QR code image that you need to either replace or add to the site into the template in order to print it out. We'll go ahead and go back to the order supplies page and now go over NFC tags. So I already went over kind of an explainer again. You've got NFC tags come in a variety of sizes. They come in a variety of types, on metal, sticker type format where they come in a roll. They can even come in business cards. They come in regular plain cards. You can pretty much get them any way that you like them. But we'll go ahead and click on Order Now. And this page here goes over the specific NFC tag model or chip type that you'll need to order. So it has to be what's called NTAG 216. And we use this specific type of NFC tag because it allows for a larger amount of data to be stored on the NFC tag. So we've got a couple of links to examples. Now you don't have to order, of course, from Amazon or from these specific things, but these two links here will take you to examples on a water resistant on metal NFC tag and just a water resistant NFC tag. There are places that you can get them more in bulk if you're waiting to wait a little longer for them to come in. And it just makes sure, again, that they are NTAG 216, and you can get them, again, in a variety of types. So you've got, again, business cards, on metal, button type NFC tags with an adhesive backing to it, and then where they come in kind of a sticker type format where they're not on metal, because the electronics for the NFC tag would be on the back and exposed, and you want to ground that, of course. But you essentially have a wide range on where you can order these from, so long as they are NTAG 216, and so long as you only are using Android devices at that location. And those Android phones do have to have what's called an NFC chip built in. NFC means near field communications. So generally speaking, anything that can do what's called Samsung Pay or Google Pay, any phone that you would be able to hold up to one of those credit card terminals at, they say, a store that you kind of just wave over to make a payment, those phones would be able to be used. But you want to check your Android phone to ensure that it is near field communication compatible, that it has that NFC chip built into it. And down here at the bottom, we have instructions on how to program your NFC tags. And this is a step-by-step instruction, again, in bold here. Again, NTAG 216 is the type of tag you'll need. And you'll go through your settings here on your phone, enable unknown sources at the bottom of the support article, as well as you can read this QR code. We've got an application that is specifically for Officer Reports tag writing that you'll install onto your phone. It's not available in the Google Play Store, but it is available to essentially what's called sideload onto your device, where you download the application and install it. So after you install the tag writer application, one, you want to make sure that, and I'm switching back to my tour stop page here, you want to make sure that you've got the NFC tag already on your site. And you can add these. If we go in and click on the upper left-hand corner, add tour stop, we've got the option to choose QR code or NFC tag. Make sure that you create the NFC tags before you go into the Officer Reports tag writer, because you'll need that information that it pulls up to program these NFC tags. Not only that, say if you think you're going to use QR codes, but then you want to switch over to NFC tags, or vice versa, you can edit these and change the type. So if I want to change this one here to NFC tag and update it, I can. And then, of course, if you already had a QR code up, that QR code wouldn't be able to be read anymore because now it's an NFC tag in the system. But you can edit it, of course, and go back to QR code and it would be readable again. Just kind of spelling out all of your options here. Now, going back to the support page on how to write these NFC tags, essentially, there's two things that'll appear when you open up the Officer Reports tag writer. One, a write NFC tag and read NFC tag. And this is after you log in with your administrator account to this application, because it needs to pull back information from your sites and the tour stops on them. So when you go to write NFC tag, you'll select a site, and then you'll select the tour stop that you want to do. In this example here, this is the tour stop I would select, the NFC tag example number 1. After you select the tag that you would want to write to the NFC tag, all it does is it tells you, again, it must be NTAG 216, but you'll hold your device against the NFC tag to program it. It's really as simple as that. And it'll pull up the tour stop name and any message officers you've got and any placement instructions that you've got kind of inside here. So if you've got a message to the officer that displays after they scan the NFC tag, you can put this in here and placement instructions as well. And it'll all pull up in the tag writer app. And then after you put up the NFC tag to your device, as soon as it detects that, it'll send that programming to the NFC tag and it'll tell you that it's been successfully written to. Now, what I generally recommend is when you go to a site and you're adding these NFC tags, that you kind of bring the NFC tags with you and you go to the location that you're going to put these NFC tags up at, go ahead and write to them, put it up, move on to the next one. But you can also go look back through and say you've programmed all of them before you got to the site and you're going to go place them up. That first option, So I'm going to scroll up here, read NFC tag. We'll tell you exactly what that tag ID number is and source stop ID, the source stop name, message, and placement instructions. So I usually recommend programming them on site, but you can also program them, at your office and then take them to the site, read the tags, and place them up. But generally speaking, it's easier to do it the opposite way around, where you're programming them at the location, at the spot that you plan on putting them up, so that you can just go through, program it, stick it up, go on to the next spot, program it, stick it up, and so on. And at the bottom of the article, if you don't use the QR code to get the Android application onto your phone, you can also tap on this link to get the QR code reader-writer application for Officer Reports. I'm sorry, not QR code, but NFC tag reader-writer application for Officer Reports. So trying not to bounce around, but now we'll go back to how to print QR codes. So again, we talked about earlier how the QR code order page links to how to create and print tour stops. And it shows you here that you can select, of course, the label sizes that you ordered, so large or small. All you'll do is click on Download All QR Codes. And you want to open it with Adobe Acrobat Reader. And so essentially you want to make sure that you've got Adobe Acrobat Reader installed. I'm using Firefox in this example, but if you're using Chrome, make sure that you save the file and that you go to where that file is located, which is usually in your download folder, and open it up in Adobe Acrobat Reader. Do not try to print it from the browser, as it may cause the labels to essentially print off of the QR codes. So we'll go ahead and open it up in Adobe Acrobat Reader. And right here, you'll see the QR codes. I just downloaded these. We've got these 5 QR codes, and I downloaded the large 1.5-inch labels. On the first page, you'll see the QR codes that you need to print on the labels themselves. And then the second page in this example is a numeration, essentially, of these QR codes. So 1 through 5 in this case. It lets you know what number is where on the page. And that can be printed on a plain sheet of paper, so not on the label sheets themselves. And then the third page in this example is another kind of instruction that you would kind of pair up with the second page. So you'll see here that 1 is the front door, 2 is the back door. So these 2 pages, the pages that show the blocks with the numeration and the QR codes with the numbers in front of them, the tour stop names, you can print on plain sheets of paper to take with you while you're putting up the QR codes at the site. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and the front door would be number 1, so it would be the first one here, which would of course translate into the first one that you've printed on the label sheets. So what is the best way, and how do you print out these QR codes? Well, you want to go to File and Print. And you want to select your printer from those drop-down lists. Pages to print. Now this depends on how many pages you have that have these actual QR codes on them. So if you've got say you're using small and you've got over 80 tour stops at a site, you would change this. If you've got over 24 tour stops and you're using the 1.5-inch labels, you can go ahead and change this number as well. But for this example, when we've only got 5 and it's on a large 1.5-inch sheet, or label sheet, we'll go ahead and select 1. And we're not going to shrink oversized pages. We're going to do actual size. If you do fit or shrink oversized pages, what will occur is the labels will not print fully on the labels. They'll be kind of offset. And then you just go ahead and go to print. What I would normally recommend you do, and there's a couple of things here. One, you want to check to make sure what side is up with your printer. So usually I would advise customers to kind of take a plain sheet of paper, put maybe an F on it, and or a U for up or something like that, and stick that into the printer, and then kind of print out a test page of these labels. That way that you know how you need to insert your labels when it goes in there. So, and then the second thing, of course, is to remove all plain sheets of paper and insert only the label sheets that you need to use when you're printing out these labels. And you, of course, with the first step, you want to make sure you place them either face up or face down, depending on how your printer prints, and print page one. And then after you're done printing on the QR code label sheets, then you can go ahead and say, we've got page one printed out already, and the second and third pages are our instruction sheets. Second page being the enumerated page, and the third page being the list of the QR codes with the numbers next to them. So you can pull out any label sheets you still have in your printer, put plain paper into the printer, and print pages 2 and 3, which are essentially your instruction sheets, onto plain sheets of paper. And one that we're kind of removing the label pages and putting in plain sheets of paper ensures that you don't misuse or use any label sheets you don't need to use in this process. And again, we'd go to print that on plain sheets of paper. Go ahead and cancel out of this here. And we'll go back to our presentation. All right, so now we're going to take any questions that you may have. I don't see that we've had any questions come in during the session. So do you have anything specific? We'll give you a couple minutes to type your question again. The second green button on the top of your screen, it'll pull down, select my name, and you can enter something that you would like to type as a question directly to me, and I can get that answered for you. But while you're doing that, again, to summarize, so you wanted to, for the QR codes, when you're going through the order process and click on Setup and Order Supplies, if you're ordering QR codes, make sure that you select the correct QR code size and type. So you, again, select inkjet or laser printer, depending on your type of printer that you've got. And for NFC tags, again, they only work on Android devices that have a near-field communications chip built into them. So any device that can use any sort of credit card payment method that you essentially swipe over the credit card terminal at a store, those would be compatible, but you can check the device specifications. The other thing you want to keep in mind to overview is that the NFC tags have to be what's called NTAG 216. That is the specific type of NTAG they have to be in order to work with OfficerReports. If it is NTAG, say, 215 or 215, it will not work. It has to be 216, as that allows us to program more information into the tag, and that's what OfficerReports uses as a standard. Well, I'm not seeing any questions that have gone through, so we'll go ahead and continue. If you need to schedule a training session, so these training sessions, of course, are available free to all of our customers, you can go to Support on the main menu and click on Request Training. There's a calendar that will appear, and you'll select a date and time. It'll show the available dates and times that our online training is available. Select a date and time that best fits your schedule, and fill out the requested information on the form. So your name, email address, your phone number, and what you'd like to cover in the training session. And you'll receive an email right after you schedule this training session with instructions on how to connect to the online training sessions, and will be sent a reminder the day prior that you've got a training session coming up the next day. Additional support is, of course, always available to you. One of the things that we showed you, of course, is the support center, and that the order supplies link takes you to the support center pages that you can not only look at, and these are support articles within the support center, but also that you can kind of go over. So quickly going back here to that page, that we were on with how to program the NFC tags. If you go to the top here and click on Home, all of these articles are available to you. So the Support Center is really that one-stop shop for all things officer reports. But you also have the Contact Us link, and that Contact Us link will take you to, again, a Support Center page, but it will take you to the contact form that you can use to contact our technical support team. There are other ways, of course, contact technical support, such as emailing tech support at OfficerReports.com. But again, you can also, if you're logged in, you're already looking at things, you can use the Support Center, of course, to look at our vast array of information and that we've got for our reports, the Contact Us link to fill out anything, any requests you may have to send as far as support for our technical support team. Well, thank you to everybody for joining today. I definitely appreciate you coming to us and kind of expanding your knowledge on officer reports. Next month, we'll have, of course, another Lunch and Learn session for you to join. And everybody, thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your lunch if you are on lunch. And as a reminder, we do have a second one today for Lunch and Learn in the afternoon. Again, my name is John Greer, Customer Experience Manager at Officer Reports, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you.